We salute you as we hope you salute us. Now, our next speaker, I won't call him a gentleman. I think he's more of a scoundrel. This man spends days, weeks, months, and years attacking the military, questioning authority, documenting, excuse me, lady, I'm speaking here.
Oh, well.
You think it's good. Our next speaker, you have to admire his persistence as much as I acknowledge his foolishness in believing that we should stop the arms trade. This is a man who doesn't believe in regulating the weapons trade. He thinks it should stop. I remember being an idealist in my younger years, but as they say, anyone who is not a socialist when he's 18 is hard-hearted. Anyone who is still a socialist or an anarchist after the age of 30 is a fool. I welcome the biggest fool of all, Mr. Richard Sanders. I will allow you to stop some of your foolishness. Non-violent. Aha! He felt the power of the arm. Is that not true? The floor is yours, sir.
Well, I'm greatly insulted to be introduced by General, what's his name?
Chaos, sir.
Chaos. Well, you're in the right place, in front of the U.S. Embassy.
Yes, I am.
So we're here at the U.S. Embassy because we are among the millions of Canadians who oppose Canada's deep complicity in U.S. wars.
Shame. Shame on you.
We oppose war. We decry war. We are ashamed of the U.S. wars. We're sick of your wars. We protest your wars. We resist your wars. But they're not just your wars. These are our wars. Canada is not the great peacekeeping, peace-loving, peaceable kingdom that we are made out to be and that we make ourselves out to be. Many Canadians like to point the finger at the United States and accuse it, rightfully, of being the biggest warmonger in the world, the biggest warmonger in world history, the biggest producer of weapons in world history, the biggest military spender in world history. And as a famous U.S. leader, Martin Luther King, said, the greatest purveyor of violence in the world. And that is still true today. But these are all Canadian wars, and we are complicit in this. So we are opposed to Canadian military exports to the United States. We are opposed to Canadian complicity in U.S. wars. We are ashamed of the many roles that Canada plays in U.S. wars and in fueling wars around the world. And no other country in the world supplies as much military equipment to the United States as does Canada. Canada exports $4 to $5 billion worth of military goods to the United States every year. Every U.S. fighter plane has essential Canadian components in them. Every bomber plane in the United States is assembled with Canadian parts. It's important, essential Canadian parts. These weapons, these major weapon systems employed by the United States around the world in their various imperial wars would not be able to get off the ground without Canadian components. Almost every major U.S. weapon system has Canadian parts. So Canada itself is a major part of the U.S. war machine. Canada is one of the world's top producers and exporters of military hardware. But most Canadians do not know this. Most Canadians suffer from a mass delusion, a psychosis. We think that Canada is a great peacekeeping, peace-loving nation. It is not. Canada is built on land plunder, on genocide, and on imperial wars. We've been fighting them for more than 100 years. But Canada thinks, Canadians, so many Canadians think that we are blessed with these Canadian values of multiculturalism, peace, justice, and human rights. This is a myth. Many Canadians would have you believe that if we could stop this one sale of military goods to Saudi Arabia, of armored personnel carriers, that we could restore Canada's reputation as a great peace-loving, peace-promoting country. This kind of military equipment we've been selling to Saudi Arabia for 30 years. This is not a new thing. Some mainstream peace groups would have you believe that we should try to restore the good name of Canada as a protector of global peace and justice and human rights. But I say no, Canada is not a force for peace. Canada is a farce for peace. Our so-called reputation is suffering, and that's good. It is good that our reputation as a great peacekeeper is suffering. And we shouldn't try to restore that great reputation of Canada, the great peacekeeper. We should try to debunk the myth. We should try to put that myth to rest. One of the greatest symbols of Canada's role as a global farce for peace, as a global force for duplicity, is CanSec. CanSec is a symbol of Canada's role in the military-industrial complex. It's a symbol for war, for imperialism, for plunder, and for capitalism. And we're here to nominate, if I could make a motion, do I have a seconder? You better hear what the motion is first before you second it. I would like to nominate Canada to receive the Nobel Prize for Hypocrisy. And I think that Justin Trudeau should receive that prize on behalf of Canada. Do I have a seconder?
Yeah, seconder.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Is that unanimous? Okay, thank you.
When I was growing up on the farm, my father, a good military man himself, would excuse something like this as what we would call something good for the soil. Horse manure and balderdash, sir. Horse manure.
Thank you.
You talk of genocide, you talk of plunder. These things were necessary to build this great and powerful and wonderful country. They were necessary, and they will continue to be necessary so that my friends can feel comfortable when they go to bed at night. I believe we are now going to go to the first hotel now, and we're going to follow this lady here with the Stop the Arms Trade unfortunate sign, of course. We're going to follow Joe, and our next speaker, I believe, is one of those.